and welcome to the Grassroots Rugby Show. I'm Louise Ransom. Great to have your company alongside me. Sean Maloney, good to see you. Will Davies as well. Great to have you with us. Will, Shoot Shield viewers would know your face and voice very well after the last few seasons working on that competition. Your wife has had a baby. So this kept you pretty busy.
Yeah, absolutely right. I'll take that in terms of the familiarity. But yeah, look, great to be back involved on some level too. But yeah, very lucky, happy and healthy. Born the day after the grand final last year. So behaved himself. We were on red alert throughout that period. So I made a joke before the grand final at the Ken Catchpole Medal Awards that if he was born before the grand final, he was going to have to be named after the team that won the flag. So didn't, and he's not called Student.
Imagine if your son, imagine if it went the other way and your son, but your son's just named Rat.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, imagine having a rat boy running around the Davies household. Disaster.
Woodies was a concern as well.
Woodies would have been the drama.
But anyway.
Rat would have been worse.
Yeah.
So good to have you here. We're going to be hitting him up for all his knowledge around Shoot Shield 2 years in. And I note that on our opener, on our bumper behind us, we've got pilot episode titled up. I reckon scrap the pilot. I reckon this needs to keep rolling and rolling and rolling over the Shoot Shield. This is the first time ever, Lou, we've been lucky enough to bring together the best of the Shoot Shield in a highlight show.
Yeah, but this is different. This is more extensive.
This is like, we're going on a deep dive on Shoot Shield. We've got Colts, we've got subbies, the whole box and ice. What else have you got lined up for us?
We've got plenty lined up. But Sean, what's your club rugby story? Tell me for those watching on that don't know.
I embarrassed my way around each of Sydney's Shoot Shield clubs quite adequately. Had a bit of time in subbies. That was fun. Played with the mighty DY Lions, obviously Colts and all the bits and pieces as well. So very happy to be here. Can't wait to get stuck in over the next little bit.
Okay, well, let's do it. Let's talk about the match of the round really in Shoot Shield over the weekend. It was between Randwick and the Rats, and Randwick are just too good in this game.
So much to play out.
Yeah, really good win. And 2 rounds in against Warringah, who've been one of the forces of the past couple of years. Josh Holmes, as you expect with his leadership and experience, just firing early. One of the toughest things to defend, a Josh Holmes dummy near the line. So you've got to feel for the Randwick defenders. This time gives the ball. A nice try for the Rats. And they're looking pretty good early, Shorty.
It was all the Rats in this first half, looking to bounce back after going down in that opening round game against City University. But it was certainly just the classic game of, I hate using that cliche, we're 3 minutes into our first episode of Grassroots Rugby, but it was a game of 2 because it swung the other direction in the second.
Yeah, he just keeps on getting better and better, Josh Holmes, in terms of his ability to lead that side around. They'll need him more than ever this year, I think, with a couple of changes. But Randwick, you've got to like what you saw from them on the weekend and also how they're firming. It's obviously a very proud club. We know a lot of the history with Randwick, but they've got some ripping young players coming through and a lot of persistence from them to get level. And then where the match could have turned, a red card coming for Lockie Miller, and for mine, a red card every moment of the day. James Quinn right there, and he saw it. Ben Woollett, the Warringah player, I think he made it look a little bit better than it was, if that's even a thing. You can see him sort of embracing Lockie Miller.
What do you mean making it look better than it was?
Look, if he didn't hold his body weight and sort of grab onto Miller, he could have landed on his neck and obviously past the perpendicular. Right. Could have been a lot worse.
Okay, gotcha. So he's safety braced on the way
Absolutely.
through.
I mean, that takes good strength in the air.
I tell you this, Lockie Miller is an outstanding talent, the man who's just copped the red card there. Not a bad bone in that kid's body, so it was bang out.
A little send-off too from Warringah.
It was spectacular, a little good send-off, good send-off. So that made it 15-14 for the back end of that game, and you were certain that it was going to be the Rats to come away with it.
It's pretty gutsy defence though by Randwick, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good defence. They've got some great young forwards, and we've seen plenty of them get stuck in here. Christian Poitevin, Nathan Den Hoyt, and also Tom Nolan. We're going with Nolan.
It's got to be Nolan.
Yep, I believe so. His dad came up and not corrected me, I don't need correcting, but told us which of the 2 it was. So if it is Nolan, I've butchered that one. So if you know the correct pronunciation, please do let us know. But gutsy stuff, as you say, from Randwick and able to hold Warringah out.
How good far side there could you have? We've seen the lower graders and Colts. I mean, that's one of the other features of the Shoot Shield this year is we've got that continuity of Colts in and around the grade teams as well. And they rev up, and when they rev up, first grade teams normally respond. We saw that week 1 up at Rat Park when the uni lower graders and Colts were really tearing in, and it really got them up that next level. So massive defence, but they did have a chance late. The Rats through Harley Atwater, Will.
Yeah, not ideal for Rats fans this, but again, Randwick defence, a huge piece of contact from Nolan on Harley Atwater, and just sticking to it. He looked through for all money. Warringah potentially taking the lead, but Randwick at home, and as you say, you get a vocal crowd. Ball just dislodged.
9
maybe
times out of 10.
Atwater's eyes light up.
Harley Atwater is a tremendous player. 9 times out of 10, they're under the arches in that corner of the McDonald's. You know what I'm talking
Golden
about?
Arcs.
The Golden Arcs in that little corner, and just couldn't hang on, and that ended up being the match-defining try-saver.
Really well-known name, Christian Poitevin. Poitevin being the well-known name, of course, in rugby circles. He played a part late in this one.
Yeah, ripping young prospect, and been huge raps on him coming through, not just because of the bloodlines, but also his leadership with Colts a couple of years ago. I think 2018 led them to the premiership, and been a great talisman for a lot of these younger players coming through. So Randwick fans early on will be up and about.
Are they calling him young Poito? Like Poito? Sure. Poito. They must be. Does he play similar to the old man in terms of his on ball and just aggressive, go get him at every turn attitude?
Tough young player,
yeah,
and
right.
There are a few of them as well through that back row for Randwick. So you can see what it means to them.
Big
Early
win.
doors, 2 rounds in, a great win against one of the heavyweights the past couple of years, Warringah.
Yeah, really great victory for Randwick. Let's talk to one of the head coaches, bring him into the show. Good friend of the show, Morgan
Our only
Tuanui.
friend. You're our only friend, Morgan Tuanui. How does that feel?
Welcome early on.
Our first friend.
Right.
Gee,
Morgan, how are
tell you what,
firstly?
you're scraping the barrel. Well, you're scraping the barrel if I'm your only friend, that's for sure. And I think
tell us about-
it's not an auspicious start. The only thing you got right about that game was Tom Nolan's name. So that's something.
Yes.
You've got some work to do.
Nice one. Tell us about the weekend. A couple of injury updates for us with Horwitz and Hutchinson, I believe.
Yeah, Dave Horwitz, who was excellent for us in round 1 against the Hunter, really controlled things for us. He had a head knock, so he'll definitely miss the round 3 clash out of Parramatta at Lidcombe Oval this week. Henry Hutchinson, unfortunately, has got some somewhat significant damage to a hamstring, so he'll miss at least this week and a little bit into the future, I'd say. Hopefully he's a quick healer because he's been very good for us playing both on the wing and at 13. And what we have found is having those 7s guys come in, they've just got wonderful core skills. They're still learning their positional stuff in the 15s because they don't play a lot of it. But they can catch and pass and tackle and compete at the ruck. And you can see that he was pretty shattered and he's an important part of our playing group.
On those 7s players, Morgan, how have you found the ability to harness a lot of that skill set at training? Have you seen much of a difference in a lot of the other players embracing that attacking flair? And then how, on top of that, do you sort of plan for that in-game situations, especially given perhaps the experience level isn't there at 15s?
I think the one thing you see at training and even in these early stages in the first 2 rounds is that when the game goes unstructured, when it's a bit fractured, counter-attack, turnover, they're very much comfortable in that situation. Obviously, they're really elite athletes at the moment, but also they're conditioned to, once line breaks are made or once defences are fractured, to really identify those things and finish it off, which fits really comfortably with the Randwick ethos the way it always has been. So it's a pretty easy club for them to settle into. And what they've had this first 2 weeks of the competition is a tight 5 that's given them an opportunity as well. So it's been quite nice balance. It's only round 2. We've had 2 games at home, but there's some good signs there.
We just had the image up there of one of my favourites from the HSBC 7 Series, Maurice Longbottom. Where are you running him? How do you look to utilise a guy who's not massive in stature but just has insane pace off the mark and those skills that you touch on? I mean, they're sublime.
Yeah, he's a good second grader, not a bad second grader around. He needs game time. He's played the least amount of 15s of anyone, I'd say, in the Shute Shield. So he played 80 minutes at halfback in second grade, then came off the bench. To add those things that everyone knows that he could, anyone who's seen him play and he's seen him play 7s can, when defences get a bit more tired, when the game becomes, fractured and there's some unstructured footy, he comes into his own. So he's learning the role of a 9. We'll probably use him in the back 3 as well at times. So at the moment, it's getting a body of work in second grade to get used to playing 15 and to learn the role of 9. And then also know that a really easy place for him to slot in is in the back 3, where on counter and kick return and chiming in the back lines and possibly attacking blind sides, he can do that pretty easily.
Yeah, loving seeing a few of those guys back playing in the 15-man game. Let's talk about your opponents for next week, the two Blues. Talk me through the sort of approach you'll take into this one, Morgs.
This is a really good mental challenge, I think, for our guys in terms of preparation. I was waiting that long in the green room for you guys to get to me that I've dried out, but it's been a pretty wet night here on a Monday night at Latham Park. So we haven't done any on-field training this evening. The boys were in the gym, and then they had a video review session. But obviously we'll look more at Para as the week goes on. But we've obviously seen their size up front, and then obviously the explosive nature of their back line. We're pretty happy that Tatafu Plotter now is playing 4th grade at the moment. Hopefully he doesn't get promoted. Don't need to see him come up. Thanks very much. But we've all been out, whether it's at Granville or Death Valley or playing away wherever Parramatta play. We know that you have to start fast, first 20 minutes, and try and dominate that advantage line. If you let them get momentum, get their sales up, then it's a long afternoon at the office. So another really exciting challenge for our playing group to play some better rugby than last week. We didn't actually play very well in terms of our rugby, but there was courage and there was bravery under some adversity at the end, and we need to leapfrog off that.
Okay, Morgan Tuanui, thanks so much for your time here on the Grassroots Rugby Show. Go well on the weekend.
Thanks, guys.
Always good to chat to Morgs. Guys, before we move on to some other clubs and games from the weekend, let's stick with Randwick for a little bit. Let's talk about their great day because they won every fixture bar one.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to get swept anywhere. And this was another win for Randwick. Too good for the Rats in 2s in 2nd grade. She got spicy, Will Davies. I know you like it getting spicy.
Yeah, absolutely. Always good to set the tone, I think, as well, in terms of, we know it's physically distanced at the moment, limited crowd. So for the crowd in attendance to get
Maurice
a bit.
Longbottom, the Randwick number 9. I think he's already involved. He's going to get ripped back somewhere along here. In he goes. Look, Moz would struggle to knock the foam off a cappuccino from the local cafe. I don't know what he's getting involved in that for, but another big win there for Randwick in 2s. Good to see it getting spicy. And then, look, we'll just jump straight into this. Colts at the weekend. It was a tough afternoon for Warringah on the Colts front. Randwick are very good. Corey Hooper, the sole try scorer in the red headgear, here for Warringah. So, second row, gets a chance to go in, does it. That's later in the game.
Yeah,
Previous to that, Will. Previous to that, Luke. He gets set up with a chance to take it 40, okay? He's off and he's just thinking, well, this is going to hit the socials, I'm going viral, but now for all the wrong reasons. Dives for the line, 3 out, and on the AstroTurf, you don't slide so good.
Yeah, what's the undulation towards those goblins? Looks like he's in Gloucester chasing the wheel of double Gloucester cheese down the hill.
But
legs just go.
You do not slide on the AstroTurf. There is a lesson there for young Corey, but well done on him getting the sole try in that heavy loss against Randwick on the weekend.
No rush to get
good
up either.
Good pace for a young lock.
And read it well too.
Motoring.
Yeah,
Good
telegraph
skills
the
to
play,
pluck her out. Anyway, that's your Randwick and Wicks and Rats wrapped.
Yeah.
Try getting that over
Yeah,
second
nice.
I'll
time.
leave that one to you. Okay, let's move on to Gordon and two Blues. We spoke to Morgs about the two Blues, and they will be hungry after not scoring a single point against Gordon. But Gordon look really good this year, don't they, Will?
They do look really good, and they've been building. They had a decent campaign last year, but as we seem to say every year, very competitive, and that top 6 sort of ends up being a top 10 in terms of sides jostling for it. But they've got some great leadership through the forward pack. Mahi Varlanu's in tremendous form. They've got some good outside backs as well.
Go on.
Tui Malili going well out on a wing.
Got it.
It'll be interesting with Gordon how they manage it. I reckon they've been building nicely. There's Mahi Varlanu, who spent a bit of time with Warringah, a bit of time with the Rebels, and under Darren Coleman with Gordon going very nicely. So a massive win against the two Blues, who obviously everyone hopes can perform at a slightly better clip. But we get to the ladder a bit later, unfortunately, for the teams from out west. They've been on the end of some pretty heavy defeats, but could be a pretty fun place to be on a Saturday afternoon and Saturday morning this year, Chatswood Oval.
That's if you're a Stag fan.
Or just general
Have you noticed the move away from Highlanders to Stags this year? They want to be known as the Stags more than the Highlanders. You a Stag man or a Highlander man?
Don't mind.
I like Stags.
I'm a Stag.
Stags
man,
good, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go with it. But some good pickups there for Darren Coleman. Harrison Goddard's in there alongside his brother. They're going along nicely. Brandon Quinn He can shift gears on the wing as well, and one of many of those sevens players going back into Shoot Shield, which is great for all of us.
It is. Let's move to Wallara Oval. I was sidelined for this one on 7-2 as East's 36 over West's 10. East were always going to be winning this one. Started out really terribly for West Harbour. Rod Davies got concussed in just the first few minutes.
Yeah, not great to see. And another feature of the competition, we talk about the sevens players in tough circumstances, tough times. There's a silver lining for the Shoot Shield and Club Rugby, seeing these international stars, a former Wallaby as well, Rod Davies. But East will be an interesting one this year for sure. They've potentially missed that depth in the front row the past couple of years. I know it's been something they've been focusing on. They've got some depth in that front row all of a sudden, so they've got some size, some good young players coming through, and some weapons in the back row as well. Sam Shire's nicely settled, and Jack Digby as well, and looking pretty solid. It's not the best performance, but a heavy win nonetheless.
Yeah, that's it. They needed it after getting the loss or
Yes.
not getting the win in the first round. They really needed to get that.
Good afternoon there. Oh, I mean, it was the TV match of the round. Good afternoon, Wallara.
Great afternoon. It's a lovely oval. It's very nice.
How
to
is
be
the
at.
grass looking?
Grass was looking good as always. I don't think it never looked
good.
bad.
Good.
Yeah,
Very
but it's
nice
not-
surface.
Not quite real, but yeah, West were actually hoping for a bit of a wet track there, but the rain never really showed up. It showed up about 15 minutes to go before full time, so wasn't the game plan I think that they initially wanted to sort of get to. But let's move on now. Let's go to another result. Norths and Penrith, 53 points to 3. Norths absolutely destroying the Emus here. Emus' first game of the year, first game in quite a while, Sean.
You know what? Take your time, Emus. Take your time and wait till you hit round 7 or 8. Maybe you've kept that continuity of squad. You John Muggleton. You're out at Emu Park and you start looking to grab some scalps. I reckon it's an easy transition back into it. Take your time.
Yeah, it's nice on paper certainly, but when you're on the back of these heavy losses, it's not going to be much fun fronting up in the cold and the wet at training. North's one of the heavyweights of the comp in the past little while certainly. Some question marks over North's coming in potentially. They've lost a couple of players, but at the same time they are going very nicely to start the campaign. A pretty softish draw for Northern Suburbs to start the first sort of 4 or 5 weeks. They've got a bye coming up as well, but you can't do much other than what they're doing in terms of the heavy wins and tries from all over the park too. Still star-studded Northern Suburbs.
Yeah, so did the coach Zachby just last week in the Asian aisle at Woolworths. Had a bit of a catch up out on the beaches, and just spoke about all things Norths, and he's loving being in charge. This is a really up and out group. It's great stuff.
Okay, let's move on to Sydney Uni and Manly. This one was a gritty game, gritty win in the end by Uni, 10 points to 6.
Can keep this punchy. It was the lowest scoring Shoot Shield game I can remember, maybe going back the last 10 years at least. I can't remember lowest scoring game. The headline from that matchup, Henry Clooney's Ross in his 50th game in the blue and gold hoops with the only try of the match, 10-6. Tell us about the backstory. I was shocked by this.
Yeah, look, one of the good guys of the Shoot Shield and Sydney Club Rugby and Sydney Sport as well. Great to see him back this season, but also last year. Early on at Sydney Uni, sliced his leg open with a try-saving tackle, caught the corner post, and got pretty serious for him after that in hospital. They weren't sure if he was going to make it, in fact, and that's not overselling it. Then it was a case of whether he might lose the leg, but was back playing by the end of the season, had great success with Sydney Uni. So wonderful to see him performing so consistently for Sydney Uni and just running around doing what he does.
Uni coach Michael Hodge is just sitting back going, how easy is this? First grade, first year, 31 years of age, 2 games, 2 wins, no problem.
Yeah, they lose a couple of players this year. Obviously, a few go over to Leicester, but with Robert Taylor, the head coach. But again, how strong do they look?
Yeah, really strong. Eastwood looked pretty strong too against the team from the Hunter, the Wildfires. 46 points to 11 this one.
Big win, Eastwood, just saying, hey, we're here, don't forget about us. We're going to be in contention later in the year as well.
Yeah, strong lineup too. Ben Batcher really settled in now.
Yeah, they're not short. They're not short at all. Shall we take a look at the ladders team? Let's do it. Let's get into the ladder through 2 rounds. And it looks a little something like this. We've got 4 teams who are at the moment unbeaten, untroubled, and they round out that top 4. And then you've got Manly and East clipping out the top 6, North and Gordon, just separated by points differential. Through to the bottom 7, the chasing pack and Southos, they bagged maximum points in that first up win. And then you can see the remainder there running all the way to the bottom. And don't forget, we've got those 2 new teams returning. Well, they're not new teams, it's 2 teams returning in the form of the Emus and the Wildfires.
Okay, so that's how it's looking at the moment. Let's see what we can look forward to over the weekend and check out the fixtures. Good one to start there, Warringah and East should be interesting. Also, the TV match of the round, Manly and Norths, that will be on 7-2. Make sure you catch it then. Sean Maloney and myself will be there watching on and calling that game. 2 Blues in Randwick, Penrith and Southern Districts as well. The Wildfires up against Sydney Uni. That'll be a tough outing, but they'll be better for it, you'd say. Eastwood and West Harbour, that one's quite an interesting match as well. So there is plenty to look forward to. You can see all the highlights after full time on Clutch as well. So make sure you check those out. You can stream second grade and Colts and subbies and plenty of other things.
It's a feast, a smorgasbord this year.
I don't like to say it, but there's almost too much.
Don't say
Clutch TV
Don't
have
say
you
it.
everywhere.
Don't say it.
You could just sit there the whole weekend watching back to back games.
Yep.
So good.
You know what we're going to do now, Sean?
What are we
We're going
doing?
to go around the grounds.
Yes, we are. So this is our light-hearted sort of recap of what's played out across the suburban and Colts and grade grounds around Sydney across the weekend. And we'll kick it off at Chatswood Oval. Let's spin it back to Chatswood. And, well, how about this one? Will Davies, the inside skip ball finding Pavlakis.
Yeah, big Mike Pavlakis. You love to see it, don't you? Certainly something they've no doubt tried and practiced at training, and then a lovely line from Pavlakis.
There's so much going on.
Had a bit of work on the back of the jersey as well. He's wearing the double zeros. In he comes, a lovely pass as well, and has a bit of work to do.
Yeah.
A dummy to no one, back inside under the post. Lovely
we
stuff.
love
Mike
that, Lou. We
Pavlakis.
love that.
So good. Okay, what is happening in Colt, Sean? Take me there.
4 tries. We had a 4-try effort from North's winger Liam Dalibozek at the weekend up against Penrith, and no other player in the competition scored 4 tries on the weekend, so we highlight him. He's out of the Hunter. He's on his way up through New South Wales, Gem Blue and the like, and, well, some of them are pretty easy put downs. We've got to catch him and still get him across the strike
Got
wheel.
to be in the position. Lovely positioning from the
Yeah.
young man, out on his wing, just minding his own business, supporting, I'm sure, vocally too. 4 tries. It's a good day at the office. There he is again.
Well done,
right on the
Liam.
end of it.
Yeah, well done, Liam.
Great day out. Subbies in the Kent Will Cup. Tell me about this one.
Right. Well, when I say Knox Old Boys up against colleagues, you know it's going to be a feisty to the wire encounter, and that's just what we got. Colleagues leading 10-3, Knox go in, make it 10-8. We're looking at David standing with a sweet shot on what appears to be some kind of a dusty road. Where's the grass going on at that field? What's happening, Will? In the middle of winter, there's not a speck of grass, but now a chance for Steno after full time to potentially whip through the match-winning penalty. You guys got him in or out?
These are the
Same
sorts
spot.
of things you wake up dreaming about on a Saturday morning,
Big
aren't they?
game, big crowd on hand for colleagues. Hook, snap hook off the tee. It stays 10-10 full time between the heavyweights in subbies, colleagues and Knox.
Yeah, that wasn't overly close,
No,
was
it's
it?
over the top to say it's almost
He
a better
missed by
story
a
for him,
mile.
but it's a bloody good story
He
when
missed
you've got
by
the
a
vision
mile.
to prove it.
Okay, that's okay. There is a special guest coming up in this one,
There
or
is.
a VIP,
We're
someone
going
just
straight back to
roaming.
Chatswood Oval. Look at these 2 Blues flying along, up by 41 Chatswood Oval Saturday night, and the lights go out.
Pretty hard when
It's
there's
so good.
when there are no lights.
I reckon the Gordon assistant coach has just wandered over to the power box and gone yoink.
Good
So
boy.
we've done enough.
41-0.
The man running touch in that game, Will Davies, you know who it is.
Tafu Polita now.
What
Great
a
to see.
champion.
I mean, this is what it's all about, isn't it? He's back with the 2 Blues, plays 4th grade, sticks around right until the death, carries the flag on the touchline.
He's a
too.
legend. He
Exactly what you want.
4th grade. That's a big day at Chatswood Oval. I mean, I like to think that he had a chance to get over and sample some of the delights around Chatswood around lunchtime.
Imagine that turning up Saturday morning,
It's a big
maybe
day.
a decent Friday afternoon, and
Yeah.
then there you are,
It's a big day.
packing down against Tataf.
Yeah.
Taft's a legend. This lady here is a legend as well, Emily Robinson, also known as Horse. Our mate Sean, she's going great guns.
What about that? She's back after 200 days out with a neck injury. We know that she can pass. She's at the tri-sister now. Bang, whips through the additional 2 as well. Kicks goals for Ringer, kicks goals for the Wallaroos, the Australian women's team as well. And the Jacks got back up and running as well, which is awesome. And they're it says it all on my neck.
Yeah.
Where was that sort of goal kicking in subbies, hey?
Yeah,
Take note.
true.
You know what?
Watch and learn.
Knox need less steno and more horse.
Yeah, there
and
you
they would have
go.
won that game,
There you
13-10. Less steno,
Yeah.
more horse.
Easy from here, though, isn't it?
Isn't
Easy.
it? So easy. Congratulations to Emily Robinson making that comeback. Guys, that's us done and
Wow,
dusted.
that was quick.
Yes,
that's
speedy.
rocketed through.
Yeah.
Our very first episode of the Grassroots Rugby
Boom.
Show. Sean Maloney, pleasure as always to have your company.
This weekend, let's just go through this weekend where we're going to be at. We're going to be at Manly Oval.
We'll be hanging out again. I hang
You
out
get to
way
hang out
too
with the
much
mayor.
with way too much with
Mayor
you
will
at the
look
moment.
after everyone down at Manly Oval when we get there. There'll be some social distancing, mirror issues and activities being played out. Manly v North, that's going to be a cracker.
Yeah, going to be glued to Clutch TV, of course. We saw plenty of good chat coming through on a few of the games last
I
weekend.
like the comments.
The subbies was good. People flying in from all over the world, getting stuck into each other.
Clutch TV,
but do it
baby.
responsibly, of course.
Yes.
Don't want to go too heavy.
No, Clutch TV.
Will Davies, pleasure to have you on board as well. Thanks for your company. Great to have you watching wherever you are watching. Thanks to Clutch TV for bringing us our very first episode of the Grassroots Rugby Show.